Peace, family. Come on in. Come around. Baby, got the running now. The table turn, you got to be what you sow. What you felt, baby. So, come around. Baby, got the running now. The table turn, you got to be what you sow. What you sow. Bitch, mama, this is what you talk about. Call it how I see it, nigga. Ain't no talk about.
We back.
Hey, y'all ever did me dirty was already dead. Baby mama said you apologize. Trying to stop the goon from running down. He already spread. How you handle a hater in my position? Smash all my motherfucking goals. I'm doing a side mission. You ain't that nigga in your game to vibe mission. Ain't even got a chain, you niggas side bitch. A G, a whole nother league, ride street.
About to get into
All
it.
due respect, I'm a vet dog, I'll fix him. Get it, vet dog, I'll fix him. House it. I got the whole crowd listening. They like this nigga put it down, spitting, huh? You better off just running around giving love. Not in your top 5 is not a surprise, but that's right. I know homies think I'm better than I. So I just stay on top of my game, the better the odds. Just to be mentioned with those kind of caliber guys. Stepping aside is probably mine. By design, find another nigga like me a problem to find. Know your neighbor as yourself in these soft times. Cause when the scales flip, shit drop of a dime. That's that karma. Come around. The rabbit got the thunder now. The table's turn, you got to real what you sow. For your soul. When they come around. The rabbit got the thunder now. The table's turn, you got to real what you sow.
Yeah. When you think of me, you think of a problem. Who, what, when, and how you gon' solve them. Automatic or revolver. Fine weed trapping, I'm a farmer. Run down with 125 like I'm from Harlem. It's a lot of queer niggas plotting to do me in, but I roll with the loony men, fresh up out of the loony bin. I used to come to your rescue every jam you be in. Now me and Lord Jamaar, we moving like brand Nubians. Yeah. I'm Grand Pooba with the Uber Canuba. Look dope with Martha Stewart maneuvers. Headshot making medulla maneuver. I'm blue like Happy Hooper's medulla. Red coupe like Happy Hooper. Hold up. Go get up. Monster. Go thriller. I'm trapping people. I'm a conscious dope dealer. And I'm hand strong in my hoes. No killer. And I'm face like a Rihanna and quads like folks villas. Yeah. Ass like you suckin' niggas. Goofy in Chicago, in LA, you be a pusser, nigga. You wasn't jail, switching your hand like
coming for their head.
Try to duck them other niggas. That's why I don't fuck.
They can't do nothing with us.
Y'all pull out and freeze.
I let the Tuli go though.
I'm 2G, my next captain should be a Gucci logo. And now the KKK looks like me. Cause the kings killing kings outside of the white streets.
When they come around. And the rabbit got the thunder now. The table's turn, you got to real what you sow.
Believe in karma.
For your soul.
Mark Blake, I see you. Shout out my first 9.
When they come around. And the rabbit got the thunder now. The table's turn, you got to real what you sow.
Peace mode.
For your soul.
Tough love, I see you as well. How's my mic sound, family? We up. We got Soul So Divine in the building as well. Detroit is in the building. St. Louis is in the building. Cleveland is in the building. Jersey is in the building. And shout out to everybody in the DMV. Got family in the DMV. Shout out to everybody in the DMV. So we gotta go through this, family. This is wild, crazy. What's happening right now? We gotta discuss it, and we most certainly will. Mike is good. Before I share my screen, you know what? Let me just share my screen. Let me just get right into it. I ain't gonna engage with it. Let me see if I can do a. See this damn thing. We're gonna go right into it because this is just crazy. I have so many questions after watching this video and then other things. So let's get into it. This is from my gram. You see, it's going viral. This just happened yesterday. We're going to talk about these tunnels that the chosen ones have been digging. Take a look at the video. So apparently, Christian Jews have been getting tunnels from their synagogue under other people's homes. And you're seeing here police invading and having to fight, quote unquote, the way they use their worshipers, we don't call themselves, because they were accused of this illegal tunnel they had executed. This illegal tunnel allegedly was for the purposes of sex trafficking. People are now starting to out of this building and saying that I can see in this video. I think the most important thing that we can take away from here, if you're looking at this video, I haven't seen a single gun. I haven't even seen a punch thrown yet. But yet clearly, we have a mob of Jewish thugs assaulting officers in this town. The point there, running over pews and even taking out. Look at it. These are the guys that they're saying that you should follow behind. These are the chosen ones. These are the fighting things, right? See, we're not used to seeing black people get treated this way. We used to seeing people get ran down on the TV and work. Now, finally, the veil of Israel is being lifted and people starting to see a dirty and wicked thing. You can't put us until it's free. Okay? Let me stop this question. Okay, because the bottom line here, when we look at this, is we're literally watching pedophiles at work. We're watching pedophiles at work. Okay? They're saying the audio is louder than my mic. Okay, cool. So I turn it down. But I'm glad visually you got to see what was going on. What y'all seeing is y'all are literally watching pedophiles at work being caught. Let's really discuss it. Huh? Because for years, y'all been pumping this religious stuff to people. And for years, y'all been telling people that they need to get back to this shit. But as we can see from what they're doing, these are the main guys and the main culprits that's doing this child trafficking. Okay? And we're gonna get into it. Hold on. Just want to make sure my mic is good so y'all can hear me good. If y'all can hear me good, put your thumbs up. Just want to make sure y'all can hear me good. Okay, so the reality is this, right? There's only certain demographics of people, family. There's only certain demographics of people that have the ability to commit these types of crimes. Hey, when we have children that go missing all over the planet every single year, right? About 100. And we have people that are being sexually assaulted, and we have people that are sex trafficking people, right? There's a small group of people who actually have the power to pull that off consistently and not get caught. You can rule black people from out of that right out the gate. That's the first thing. We ain't got the bread for that. To be stealing people kids, make them disappear, and then traffic them to a whole other country. Black people, we just aren't in that lane. So it ain't like it ain't like this is something that we can't figure out who's doing this shit, right? Let me take this mic off. Okay. It ain't like we can't figure out who's doing this. You see what I'm saying? The reality is we got to keep it all the way 100. See what I'm saying? Somebody said, reverse, are you Kevin Rand's going to do a religion debunking live stream? Listen, bro, you got to do your history on Jamaar Milton first and foremost. If you want to really get down to it, if we talk in this anti-religion talk to Kevin Rand's about who the God is, because I taught Kev this shit. And he'll tell you himself when he met me, okay, he wasn't wearing an African kufi. He was wearing one of those. I got the pictures. He was overweight and he was wearing one of those Indiana Jones hats. Stop playing with me. And that's not a diss. I've awakened so many people. I've awakened a lot of people. And it's not that I awakened Kevin, but at the end of the day, I tapped into something and brought out of him. And anybody who knows me and knows Kevin knows that. And he'll tell you that himself. That's why he homie to this day. You got to read the room. You just don't know my history. I'll be in the back. I chill in the cut. You know what I'm saying? I only speak when I got something to say. I don't speak because I feel something needs to be said. Does that make sense? Net Taru said, I had no idea you was back. Yeah, because I don't make the announcement. I just do the work. You feel me? We don't do this for clout. There's no trophies for this. There's no trophies for this. Okay? So now, let's get into it. Cheryl Lee just made a comment. She said, they claimed they were digging the tunnel because they wanted to expand their headquarters that they've been asking for 30 years. This is the number one tactic that these guys use when it's time for them to face the Reaper, okay? They always try to spin it into some religious shit. Bro, you are digging. First off, this started happening because they was digging under people's homes. They was digging under people's homes. Okay? In New York City, they were digging tunnels under people's apartments through a women's bathhouse. These guys were peeping women's in the bathhouse. Luckily, the bathhouse is closed down now, but they were there for years. And they had why the hell would you have a mattress in a tunnel? That's the first thing. Why the hell would you have a soiled mattress inside of a tunnel? Who is sleeping in the tunnel? And who is soiling the mattress in the tunnel? What is happening here? Huh? What are you doing en route to the tunnel that you need to have a mattress there? This is nothing but priests, right? And holy people, yes? These the chosen ones. Y'all said these the ones this is the ones that Christianity follows. Huh? If we're talking the Abrahamic religions, you got Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. These are the ones that Christians follow. These are the ones, man. You got to think bigger. You got to think bigger. This is way different than what y'all thinking. You see what I'm saying? This ain't a one-off. This is an operation. They'll make light of it because they don't want you to know how they do this regularly throughout New York City. This is about distractions. You understand? Even as much as we love Cat Williams, and the host, shout out to Cat Williams and everything that he's doing right now. But in the day, that's a distraction. In the day, do y'all know a whole Epstein list just came out? The whole Epstein list came out that we've been waiting for since 2020, naming some of the people who had visited Epstein, right? Mind you, that's more Jewish activity. That's more belligerent religious activity, okay? That we're seeing. More sexual immorality between religion is what we're seeing. Okay? And somebody just said something cool. They said crazy thing is the traditional Jewish people don't even believe in Jesus or the Trinity. Yeah. And guess what? They also don't believe in telling on each other neither when they find out this kind of shit that they doing. They don't believe in telling each other. The good ones or the ones that we say that are good Jews, they ain't telling. They ain't telling. I bet you they're not gonna post this on their page what I just showed you. I bet you that. I bet you that. All these religious folks, the Christians and the ones that telling you need to follow Jesus, I bet you they ain't got this on their page. I bet you that. The ones that's telling you need to go to church and you need to go to synagogue, I bet you they ain't got this on their page. I bet you that. The one that's telling you need to pull up to the mosque, I bet you they ain't got this on this page. I bet you. Because see, you got to realize it's two wings of the same bird. It's two wings of the same bird. It doesn't matter. They're all Abrahamic religions, whether you're dealing with Jews, Christians, or Muslims. It's two wings of the same bird. You see, and pretty soon I'm going to have a real prominent, some real prominent religious people on the show that we're going to be discussing some of these topics with, so y'all can see it on from both sides. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not opinionated with this. We just deal with the facts. And at the end of the day, when you see this type of stuff going on, we got to deal with it. We didn't see one single person of Jewish faith being assaulted in that space, even though we clearly saw them throwing pews and endangering officers. Okay, in a way that if black people were doing it, that would be deemed as fearing for your life. Am I bugging? Is it me? Because any other situation, that's a situation where officers, for less, have killed black people and said that they feared for their lives. We have people who just pulled up to a regular rest stop and put their hands up, and they were killed. Huh? We're not talking about tased or subdued, right? Right? I didn't see a single person hurt. I didn't even see anybody on the floor. So you telling me you rolled up on 150 irate Jews throwing pews and nobody had to be put on the floor? Nobody had to be struck or stomped or kicked, huh? Or shot? Nobody. They came in with zip ties. They didn't even use real handcuffs. But in any case, okay, the reality is these people have been molesting little kids for eons and sex trafficking little kids for eons. Epstein can't do what he do without help. He's going to need not just money, he's going to need bodies. He's going to need people that are down with what he's doing, protecting what it was he was doing. So you have celebrities down with it. You have the police force down. I wonder how these people knew what was going on. Guess what? You know how they knew? The neighbors was telling. The neighbors were saying, yo, we hearing this and we hearing that. And they ran down on them. Now, mind you, let me show you how this works, right? Because this is what Jewish people are notorious for. They moving into a community, right? If you ever go to Harlem, if you ever been to Harlem, if you were in Harlem about 10 years ago, it was crazy. They were coming in on buses. I kid you not. They would pull up on these coach buses in the middle of Harlem, in the middle of crack infested area. And these people would get out and tour the ghetto. They have these tours. They come out to New York and they have these tours where they walk around where people are living, like literally currently living their lives and probably have been for a long time. And they're looking at what they're going to take. I know you say, no. They just coming about. No, they're looking at what they're going to take. They literally, sometimes they'll even come and they've done this to the Shrine of Ma'at too. They'll come and they'll ask to buy your land. And if you don't want to sell, they'll go next door, right? They'll buy the abandoned spot next door. You see how this is playing? They'll buy the abandoned spot next door because they got the capital. They'll get the other people next door to you to sell. Now you're in between two Jewish establishments, yes? So what you're seeing is them trying to build a tunnel from one Jewish establishment to the next. Do you understand? Do everybody see what it? You see? But now watch this. It doesn't stop there. Now that they got those two establishments, because our brownstones and buildings, they be connected, right? Now they got those two connected, right? And then built a tunnel under that, right? They will create an infrastructure for you that's bad to where the building can actually be condemned and you'll have to be moved out because now they done dug an illegal tunnel, they done broke foundation and all this kind of shit. They done did all of that. They done messed up the whole building, dropped the property value, all that. So now you're forced to move because of the damage that was done, right? And then as soon as you move out, they renovate the whole spot and they do the whole thing over. See what I'm saying? Now, but it doesn't stop there because they did it on this building, but they also did it on the building 2 to 3 buildings down, right? So now it's not just a building war, it's a block war. This is how they take over communities because you start small. You start with just a building, buy a whole bunch of apartments, you get this area over here, that over here, and then now you're trying to connect it. This is exactly what is going on, family, in Palestine. They started off small, yes, they started off small, just a little remote area, right? And then now they're expanding. You see, it's the same thing. The area that they had was not enough. They want more, and they want what you have specifically. They're not trying to take what is free. They want where you live. They're literally going to tell you to come up out your crib because the Lord God said this is ours. Misha said the government is in full support of those Jewish people. They even give them billions for weapons to obliterate Palestinians. And she's 100% correct. 100% correct. Okay? The issue is they have a gag order on the collective of the mouths of the people of the United States to the point where most people are scared to speak up against them. Most people are scared to speak up against even what they see in real time. What I just showed you on that video, right? There's no way anybody can look at that and say that is acceptable behavior. Let's watch it one more time. There's no way anybody can look at this and say this is acceptable. Look at the pews, family. Look at how they take the pews. We're going to watch it again from the beginning. It's only about a minute long. But just look at it. Watch how the
I was saying.
You ever seen violence like this of black people against police people that are busting over their head? You ever seen anything like this? It's crazy. I've seen enough. We're not finna we're not finna give y'all a pass on this one. Hell no, bruh. Hell no. That's another question. Why are you gonna fill up the tunnel? Why not expose what's in it? See, the reason I'm gonna tell you why. Because there's certain factors here. The reason why they gotta fill up the tunnel is because you're literally drilling out the foundation under from where people live. The fuck? People are living there. They got caught because people was like, yo, we hearing all sorts of commotion and there's all sorts of stuff. What is going on? Right? And then that leads to the town saying, well, I don't see a permit on here. That leads to the city saying, yo, there's no permit. But guess what? Because they control the court systems, because they control the judges, because they control all of those positions of power, right? It takes a long time for them to be stopped. You see? And if they get the work done in enough time, they get away with it. They get away with it. But they're trying to buy themselves time. So they just start the work and they do what they got to do because they know, okay, they're going to have to go through all of our Jewish friends before they can actually convict us of anything that we're doing here. So let's just do what we're going to do because God said so. Jehovah said this is ours. Jehovah said the temple is going to be ours and we're going to build the temple wherever we want. This is not just my opinion. This is not something that Jamaar Milton is making up. This is literally the story and how this is what they're telling the Palestinian people as they drop bombs on them. The Jews are thinking big. They dropping bombs on people who are innocent in the name of God. In the name of Jehovah God, the same God that gave birth to Jesus. Yes. Same God. Same God. If you co-sign one, you got to co-sign the other because they all come from the same branch. You can't separate them. Huh? Jesus, no matter how you look at it, whether you want to look at Jesus as a holy man, as a Messiah or a prophet, he's in all three of them books, is he not? The Torah, the Quran, and the Bible. He's in all three of them books. Okay? And this is how they move. Okay? I went to a church that was non-denominational. We literally had a Jewish flag on our altar. Still do to this day. It's still there. Okay? There's a secret alliance between Jews and Christians, whether you want to believe it or not. There's a secret alliance between those religions. Okay? There are even Jewish people who believe in Jesus. They're called Jews for Jesus. Google it. Google it. We see the type of stuff that we talk about here on this channel, family. We're not looking to recruit anybody. We're not looking for followers. We're not looking for subscribers. We just dropping knowledge. And those who are on this frequency, who have leveled up to the point where they can hear this and understand it and actually act on it, right? It's going to benefit them. But we are not seeking out new members. You know what I mean? Like that's not what this is. We are already past the age of awakening. Those who aren't awakened, they just can't go. We can't take them with us. They got to stay where they're at. We are not trying to bring them along with us. We are already past the age of awakening. What we are trying to do, however, is network with people who are on the same frequency so we can build something. Period. We're not trying to convince anybody of what's going on. If you can't look at this video and see evilness, right? If you can't look at this video and see that there's some foul shit going on, if you can't look at it and tell, hey, if you can't look at it and make sense to yourself, yo, there's no reason why any shape, form, or fashion a dirty soiled mattress should be in between a tunnel of a synagogue, in between a women's bath, huh? See, they blowing themselves up. They have a tunnel leading to a women's bath. So they go there and they spy on women. In between the tunnel and inside the other areas, they're trafficking children. You would never know those tunnels are there. You would never know. You send your child off somewhere and boom, they just disappear. Your child is in the tunnel with the Jews. Who knows? Give them a little money, send them on their way. I mean, you never know. Or you just never see them again. They end up on Epstein Island. Who knows? All we know is what they're doing. It's not legal. They're not doing something good. If that's the case, why won't you do it out in the open? Why you got that little tunnel over there in the dark? What are you doing? And more importantly, why are they able to get away with it to that magnitude? Family, if you're enjoying this video, I want you to smash the like heart button right now. We're gonna get this word out to everybody. Because if you notice, even though the news is out, you don't see a lot of people talking about it. Niggas is scared. But I'm not. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it because guess what? Can't nobody prove this wrong. Can't nobody say that this ain't the truth. Can't nobody say it ain't the truth. We got court documents, documenting what these people do. We literally have laws documenting what these people do, how they can actually commit a crime of sexual assault right over here on little kids and even grown folk, and then just go right back to Israel. They can seek asylum in their home country. You see? That's what they do. Black people don't have this benefit. We really the only ones that don't have this benefit. Hispanic people can come over here, commit a crime, and get deported back to their country. Even West Indian people, and West Indian people are not black. I don't consider them black. When they come into the country, especially if they came in off the boat, they have the luxury of going back and getting deported when they commit a crime here. That is a fact. Okay? West Indian people are treated differently from African Americans, people who are born here on the continent. That's the reason why they call West Indians and they're not considered Africans, black Africans. That's a fact. So when you understand the class system of white and black and you realize that blackness is not a skin color, that it's a social class, you see the difference and you understand what I'm saying. Okay? Black people are the only people on the planet that don't have the ability to relocate to their original land because there is no original land, right? West Indians can go back to the Caribbean. They can go back to the Caribbean. They can go back to Trinidad. They can get deported to wherever they came from, Haiti, or whatever, right? African Americans, however, no. You're stuck here. So if you get in trouble here, the first place you go to is jail. There is no, you're going straight to jail and you're staying there. See? So we're the only ones who don't have this luxury of being able to seek asylum, right? If we mess up. These people have been statistically, they understand the laws because they help create them. So they understand the loopholes and how to get around them and the things that they won't be subjected to because they're sitting in those seats. See? They're sitting in those seats that call the shots. So even though, let's put it this way, family, even though we even publicly see arrests, right? We publicly see arrests. How many convictions have you seen? How many indictments have you seen? How many Jewish rabbis, how many people of the Jewish faith in general, even the lay, have you seen serving time compared to the collective? Jewish people don't commit crimes? You ever seen it? Yeah. Okay. So, disclaimer: if you're religious, you might as well sign off right now. You feel me? If you're religious, just sign off because this ain't the page for you unless you're trying to wake up. Unless you see, you know what, this guy, he's a bit abrasive, right? But he is saying some shit, and I think, you know what I mean, I'm gonna stick around for a little bit. It's gonna be one of the two. You know what I'm saying? So if you're religious, you might as well just sign off because on this page, we're not gonna let y'all get away with what y'all been doing out here. This is the season where now everything is being put on the table and it's being scrutinized and we're questioning everything. We're taking a look and we're saying, hey, you know, we understand, you know, we've left y'all alone for quite some time, but what's going on here, bro? Why y'all been doing these things for all of these years and we don't know about it? Undercover. Why Why do y'all always get away with it when y'all get caught after the fact? You see, but see, this is in this era, in the I like to call it the Maatian age, right? We were in the age of Aquarius as far as our time, but we were behind time. This is the Maatian age where balance is now and accountability is starting to roll out. Remember, it was all about the information, the information being rolled out. Y'all remember that when it was first coming out? Well, first it was just about about the information, but now things have began to segue and change because now that we have the knowledge, right? People that have been doing wrong for all of these years, you're seeing what's happening with Puff in the music industry. You're seeing what's happened in the acting field, right? With Hollywood. You're seeing it happen all over the world. Anybody that's been doing wrongdoing for all of these years and getting away with it and abusing their power, they're now being held accountable. All the wrongdoers and the gatekeepers and the people you see with the Cat Williams interview, he exposed the gatekeepers and the people that only allow certain things to happen. And all of that is now being exposed. The veil is being lifted. It's all being lifted. So anything that you want to see, if you want to see that it's real or not, now is the time. You can investigate it and see what's going on. And anything that you want to see, it's going to be there. The information is now there. People are being held accountable for all of their bullshit they've been doing for all of these years. You see? And guess what? Now is not the time for you to fall back and pretend like what they was doing is okay. Like now is not the time to develop Stockholm syndrome, family. Let's talk about it. Some of y'all like being oppressed, huh? How many of y'all like? Some of y'all like being oppressed. I'm telling you. It's some black people, right? You could bring them the knowledge. It don't matter. They so comfortable with being oppressed. They so comfortable with being told what to do. They're so comfortable with punching in and punching out. They're so comfortable with being on white man time and white man holidays. They so comfortable. So no matter what you bring to their table that can potentially free them, it's going to look like as an attack or a threat. No matter what. Just you doing you and you being you is going to be an attack and a threat to their lifestyle. It's an attack and a threat to their energy because you ain't doing what they doing. They be so far left in life, so far left, so disconnected from nature and the natural way and the natural order of doing things, what we call Ma'at. You see, they so disconnected. So it's literally like, remember what I used to say a couple years ago? They end up having the fluoride stare. You know what the fluoride stare is? The fluoride stare, when you give them a piece of information and they just look at you. They just look. They look at you. You ever seen Get Out when they y'all ever seen somebody with the fluoride stare? You drop some knowledge on them and they look at you almost like, no. Right? They really can't handle even just the information. You don't even got to be acting on the information. It's literally just the information alone gets them niggas stuck, and they don't know what to do. So when you see that happening, family, and it's quite common, just pick up your scrolls and walk. Yeah. Before Get Out came out, it was the fluoride stare. That's what I used to call it, the fluoride stare. And I saw it in Get Out. When Get Out showed it, I was like, oh, they own it. Like, like when I first watched Get Out, all I could think of was, yo, they must be watching me. There's no way. Because there's no freaking way that they put the fluoride stare in there. You know, when the lady in the tear came down, like that's the stare that people who aren't woke give you when you drop a gem on them. You know what I'm saying? When you know some shit. Now, there's two responses to that. They're either going to take it and act on it, or if they're jealous of you, right, they're going to get mad at you. Just so you know, it's going to be one of the two. Because religion gives people a sense of empowerment and a sense of belonging. I get it. I used to be there, right? It's almost like if you was to join a gang, right? Bloods or Crips or whatever, right? It's a sense of family. It's a sense of identity, right? When you drop some knowledge that's contrary to what it is that they're doing, it's almost like an attack on their lifestyle and who they are as a human being. They see it as themselves because they internalize it. So like when somebody says that they're a Christian, if you say something against Christians, they internalize it as if you're talking to them because they subscribe to Christianity. Do you understand? Right? It's not like the lay. Like, we all, those of us who love hip hop, right? But if we say hip hop is trash, people who love hip hop don't get offended by that shit. They usually be like, oh, no, well, I like it, right? It's different with religion. With religion, it's their sense of identity. It's who they are. So when you say, Christianity is this, or Judaism is this, or Islam is this, they internalize it almost like you're talking to them. It becomes a defense mechanism. Everybody get that? So as a teacher, as a scholar, sometimes we choose our battles. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we tone it down, and other times we really just don't care. We're going to make sure that this message gets out because it has to be raw. Right? So it's levels to that. Things like this, you can't sugarcoat this. When we're dealing with the kids, when we're dealing with people who are assaulting the children and are doing things to our future, right? Things like this, you cannot give it to people gift wrapped. Something like this, you have to put it right in front of their face, say, this is wrong. These are monsters. These are savages, the same way you would for anybody else. For anybody else, you're going to call them a monster. You're going to call them a savage. You're going to have all sorts of names for them. Yes? Nobody else gets away with doing something like that without being called all sorts of stuff, right? And without being deemed as evil, dark, whatever it is, right? They're no exception. And when nobody cares about what religion you follow, if your religion doesn't give you the bare minimum of leaving kids alone and not doing bad stuff to kids. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, nobody cares what your walk of life is if all you do is spew Bible verses, but your actions don't actually add up and link up with what it is that you're saying. That is like the worst, man. That is like the worst thing in the world you can do, is to be spewing a whole bunch of Bible verses or a whole bunch of scriptures and not living what it is that you're talking about. Don't nobody want that around. Nobody want that around no more. See what I'm saying? DJ Prime. How do we hold them accountable and get justice? Well, people got to talk. See, the same way that you see I'm online and I'm talking about it, right? I have an impact of hundreds of thousands of people. I'm getting the word out. That's the first thing. There's strength in numbers. When people know and they don't just be quiet, right? It changes something in the ether. What you focus on changes. What you focus on changes. But a lot of time, because the Bible tells people to turn the other cheek, and when people do foul stuff, we just act like we don't see it. We got people thinking that every time you see something bad, don't look at it and don't even talk about it. You see what I'm saying? I'm one of the few people that will get up and talk about it. Like, no, B, we're gonna handle the situation because it's gonna happen again if you don't do something. What you pay attention to is it not only grows, right, but it's also something you can manipulate. If you don't pay attention to it, it doesn't mean it don't grow. That's the flip side that people don't talk about. This thing has grown to an outrageous space to where we don't even have the ability to do anything about it unless we grow in numbers. We can't even on an individual basis stop it. Yeah, so there's strength in numbers and words have power. If the whole community stands up, right, people are going to have to change. They're going to be forced to change. How do you think the whole homosexual agenda became so strong in the United States? It's because they had numbers. They putting their money up, they showing up, they pulling up and they showing out, and they're not caring what people say. They doing what they got to do, and they got numbers. That's all it comes down to. How do you think gangs became the way they got numbers? How do you think the Black Lives Movement popped off the way that it did when it did in 2020? They had numbers. It doesn't even matter if it's right or wrong as long as you got numbers. We've been seeing that. We see that in the industry all the time. We see a whole lot of bad things happen and a whole lot of bad people do a lot of bad things, but they get away with it because they're surrounded in numbers. The reason why Puffy's not getting away with it is because his numbers is now outbalanced. He got more people that's hating him than people that's loving him. That's all it comes down to is the numbers. The numbers don't lie. People try to work around the numbers and, oh yeah, the numbers are lying. No, they not. No, they not. Huh? If you stupid, they are. Them numbers don't lie. You see what I'm saying? So the more we talk about it, right, and the more we put it on there as, nah, this is what they do, it becomes a thing. The same way the image of black people has been tainted, right? The reason why it's like that is because they kept showing those images over and over and over. And we helped them do it, right? We're the ones who promoted the movies. We promoted the boys in the hoods, and we promoted all the stuff that made us look like, you know, savages out here in these streets and just killing each other and all that. We did that. We helped it, right? Some of the hip hop and all of that, we helped it, right? We helped to usher some of that in. But at the end of the day, we got to look at it like, yo, the power basically just lies with us. We can do whatever we want to do. Within balance, we can do whatever. Let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about balance. Let's deal with my art real quick. I'm gonna share my screen because I do want to drop some of this knowledge on y'all before I get out the way. Okay, the concept of my and people being held accountable, right? It comes from ancient Kemet. Religion stole this concept. It stole this concept. See, they want to tell you that the ancient Kemetic people were evil, when in fact they were the ones who invented the judgment seat, as you can see here from the papyrus of Hunef. We invented it. So how could the people who invented you being held accountable for your actions be evil? How could the people who invented the ideology that you will be judged on your actions that you committed every day in the afterlife be evil? They brought you the concept. They're the ones who brought you the concept of a spiritual, of an afterlife. What you're seeing here is Ampu right here holding, right, the hands of a deceased person. Let's just say this person is you. And Ampu, who is your best friend, I know you've seen images of Ampu or Anubis, and they made him look real evil or real scary. But you can see here, he's holding this person's hand. He's holding your hand. You're dressed in white because you're a spirit at this point. And you're being brought to the scales to weigh your heart against a feather. Your heart has to be lighter than a feather in order for you to be taken to see the head deity, which is Asar, seated on the throne, being backed by two female energies. Okay, up top here you see all of the Nefer, or the Neter rather, judging, right? They're helping to judge. Some of them have unks on their knees, some of them don't. They're dictating whether or not we should give this person life or not. See, this is the same concept where we get the judge and the jury, the 12 seated at the jury, right? This is where they get it from. They get it from the judgment seat of ancient Kemet, of your ancestors. This is where Christians tell you, oh yeah, when you die, you're going to go to heaven. You got to go meet God to be judged. This is where they get it from. If not, you're going to go to hell. You see this little animal right here, this little being right here, right? It's like three. It's got an alligator, it's a lion, it's all in a hippo, all in one. This is what devours your heart if your heart is not as light as a feather. This would be the concept of the devil, or you being sent to hell, right? Or torment. This is where they get it from, right? Being held accountable for your actions, right? So by all means, we live by these things. We live by these things, being held accountable for what it is that you do. You see? So when people who don't know about ancient Kemet start to talk crazy and then they throw those people in your face, just keep that gem in the back of your mind. Always keep that image in the back of your mind. It's probably one of the most important images you can ever see coming out of ancient Kemet. You see what I'm saying? I give you the weapons and the tools to stay empowered as a spiritual being, one who knows, one who's in the know, and not one who's just in the guess, right? These are the things that you can pull out, actual artifacts that you can show them, so that when they start talking crazy, You can say, okay, we're not just saying it just to say it. These are not just theories. No, we have the artifacts to back it up. Let me show you. Let me show you the power, the papyri of Hunefer, so you can see it for yourself. That way, you don't have to just be guessing out here. You see, because all this stuff came before the Abrahamic religions. This stuff existed before Christianity. Yes, it existed before Jesus. It existed before the days of God, the days that y'all are talking about. Though, if you notice, family, when I'm talking about who's judging you, right? If you notice, I didn't use the word God at all. Did you hear me say the word God at all? No, because there are no gods here. These are not gods. These are all spiritual concepts. This is before the word God was even invented. God was yet to be invented. Huh? See, right now, a Christian's head and chest is burning right now because they like, what do you mean before God existed? Because they were told that God was here from the beginning of time, and he wasn't. The letter G wasn't even existed yet. How could God be here and existing in that space, in that element of the word God, of the name God? How? There's no letter G yet. And as a matter of fact, we already have moral and ethical code standards already set up. I just showed you the glyph. So is God the one who set up moral compass? Moral compass, because we already have it. Is God the one who set it up? Or was it already set up and then God came in and started making some alterations? That's literally what happened. Your gods came in, the ones you created in your head. God didn't teach us to build the pyramids. Didn't exist yet. God didn't teach us math. Huh? God didn't teach us science. We already had that before God was existing. They can't even fathom that shit. Science existed before God. Historical fact. Zoology, biology, right? Making plants and all that all existed before the word God even existed. Newsflash. So how then is God responsible for all those things when he didn't even exist yet? How then is his son the creator of the universe when this stuff was already created? I'll let you work that out. How is God the creator? You got to make it make sense. So now they're forced to go into a space where now you have to define who God is and where he comes from. You can't say he always was because I just proved to you that he wasn't. I just proved to you that he wasn't. If he always was, why was he not mentioned? You telling me the first people that came here just did not mention God? They just wasn't going to mention God. All of these great things that supposedly God had taught them, they're just not going to mention it. How would they do it without him? How would they do it without him? If you know anything about African customs, when they were doing it, when they were writing that down, they didn't have the internet. They were writing that in real time. They didn't even know if they was going to be here tomorrow. You got to make it make sense. So, with that being said, hold on to that glyph, screenshot it, because it's probably one of the most, I would say, important glyphs in Kemet. You can find this on the Shrine of Ma'at page. That's my shrine out in Harlem. Okay, screenshot it. And now you can explain it to people when they're looking at it, when they say, hey, what am I looking at? You can see here, you see Ampu is in two different spaces, right? Right? That's not possible unless you're an energy and not an actual being. So this is how your ancestors would describe these things. A spirit can be in multiple places at once. And that's what you see. This person is here, this person is here, and then also here in multiple places at once. This is what happens when you die. As I bust down this juicy orange. This is what happens when you die. If you want to know what happens in the afterlife, you go back to where you were, the way that you were, before you were alive. You go back to multiple places of existence. DJ Prime said, how do you read or translate the picture? Well, there's two ways you can do this. You can buy the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which is written in English. Okay. Normally I would have mine out here, but honestly, all my books right now in the attic, since we moved in this new place until I get my bookshelf up. But I highly advise you to get the Egyptian Book of the Dead. I wonder if I have my big boy down here. I might have my big one somewhere laying around here. I know I do. But there's two versions of it. There's the picture version. There's one that has pictures in it, and then there's one that just has the text, and that's written in English. Okay? That's if you don't know how to read glyphs. Now, if you want to learn how to read glyphs, we have classes that will teach you in the Shrine of Ma'at. It is taught by Queen Anika. Okay, she's the head in Tepi. And she knows like 7 languages. And I took her course after I learned some Meta. I took her course. And ever since then, I've been flying solo. You can probably take one course from her and be straight. Because once you learn the foundation of the glyphs, once you learn the foundation of the writing and what it's saying, it's very, very easy to figure out from there. At that point, you're literally just figuring out what things say. Because the language is it's a pictorial language. So it's kind of like playing Pictionary. It's kind of like a language of emojis. Emojis are hieroglyphs. So if you can read emojis, you can read glyphs. Back. You understand? So for people that want to know, like how we know what it's saying, the question that we need to be asking is, how do Christians and religious people know that what they're reading is accurate when they know that it's been transliterated? Some of them would admit it, that things have been changed. Some of them won't. Amen? Uncle Mahat, T. Cobbin. DJ Prime said, so can you be religious and spiritual? No, you can't. Sorry. All religions will force you to look outside of yourself for worship. All religion will force you to look outside of yourself for the ultimate power. All religion forces you to look outside of yourself as for a person who is a creator. See what I'm saying? It's one thing to believe in something and it's one thing to act on it. There are people who say that they're spiritual, right? But if you don't act on spirituality, you're not spiritual. Like when somebody tell me, oh, yo, I'm Spanish. I speak some Spanish. You are what you speak. You are what you speak. If you can't speak Spanish, don't talk to me that you're Spanish. Don't tell me that you're Spanish. You have Spanish blood, but that don't mean you're Spanish. But that don't mean you're Spanish. You got Spanish blood, but that don't mean you're Spanish. You're not tapped into the culture. Just like when you ever talk to a black person and be like, yo, you ain't black, bro. You ever talk to a black person and even though they look black, they talk black, bro, that ain't no, you're not black, bro. It's a culture. The way you do things. You could when you give somebody that, right? When you give somebody that, you can almost tell, like, black people can almost read your whole story. We can tell if you got soul just from giving you a handshake. It's the same thing with spirituality versus religion. Religion relies on what we call ritual, right? It relies on ritual. Ritual is basically a set of movements that are done over and over and over. So it's a learned behavior, right? It's not something that you innately come here with. Spirituality doesn't even have to be taught. Children automatically come here spiritual. They read vibes, right? We're the same way. We're the same way. We come here like that. We're taught not to do that. We're taught to move away from that, right? We're taught words and spelling to express ourselves versus vibes and feeling. Your intuition will tell you a whole lot more about a person than what this person is telling you. Your intuition is way more accurate. You see? Let's talk about it. Okay, so DJ Prime said, wasn't that picture you showed was a ritual of the transition of the afterlife, with the heart being light as a feather? It's not a ritual. We don't do that. This is afterlife. Rituals happen in the life, in the living. That is a spiritual process. That is literally what happens. It's not a ritual. What you do here in the land of the living, that is a ritual. There are no rituals in the afterlife. It's just processes that happen. They're literally telling you what happens to your spirit. So now when you look at it, right, it's scientific. Because we are human, the only way that we can perceive this, right? Let me bring it up again, right? Break it down a little bit more. The only way that we can perceive this, because we are human, is we have to put it in a human form. This is what you're actually looking at is what happens in cells. Okay? In the cells of your body. This is actually science, but we can't get that deep because people haven't gotten there yet. You have to see multiple things to understand it. But in any case, multiple examples to understand it. When you die, your body breaks up into multiple areas of existence. Your cells break down. Yes, does everybody understand science in that? Where we are multicellular organisms, right? You can look at this as a cell of your body, right? The cell of your body needs to be light as a feather. I mean, it can't be dirty, it can't be a heavy cell in order for it to ascend. Ascend where? We're dealing with the sun. We're dealing with the power of the sun and what it does to the body, how a body decomposes, right? And what happens, right? If you want to deal with it on the physical form. Yes? So, let me go back. So, to understand what happens in the afterlife, it's explaining on many different levels. Have you ever heard the term as above, so below? The reason why that is oh, somebody just put that in there, as within, so without. Somebody's right on frequency. The term as above, so below refers to the fact that everything that happens on a grand scale happens on a minuscule quantum level on a small scale. So everything that you see that's happening in the universe is actually happening within inside of your body on a small scale, right? So every day, right, when we wake up, just as human beings, we are judged. Like if our system is not light as a feather, if it doesn't have the weight lifted up off of us, right, our heart will stop. You can't have too much weight on you, right? If your heart is clogged, your heart will stop, you will die, right? Same concept. That's in the physical form, right? Your actions dictate what's going to happen. It dictates whether or not you're going to wake up the next morning. If I eat a whole bunch of poison, my heart is heavy. If I drink a whole lot of alcohol, my heart is heavy. If I do a whole lot of drugs, my heart is heavy, right? Your heart is the valve that it's not a pump like they taught you in science. It's a valve. So it literally dictates where the blood is going to go. You understand? If that thing is heavy, the things that think about the function of the heart. The heart has to function on its optimal level because that's the thing that's moving the blood around. See? They're giving you the science. It's all here in this one glyph. Right? So the hardest thing that it is for Christians to do is to not take things literally. See? A Christian will look at this and they'll think that this is a real person. Let me go back. Where is it? They think that this is a real person. This is a spirit. Spirits don't have rituals. They're spirits. It's not a real person. So because Christians, when they read the Bible, they took everything literal. They told you that Jesus was flying and walking on water and shit and, all these miracles. So you were taking all of that stuff literal. So now when you look at things happening spiritually, you can't connect the two because you're looking at everything literally. And that's by design. That's by design. You literally worship a white Jesus. That's literal. You literally think the white man is God. That's a literal thing. Don't tell me you don't, because we can pull up the pictures of all the Christians and all the Christians in Africa kissing the feet of the white Jesus. Okay? That's literal. You've never seen Kemites take their heart out of a being and put it on a scale. You've never seen that, literally. You've never seen it. Why? Because it's a spiritual concept. I've literally seen pastors take snakes and wrap it around their neck. I've literally seen pastors try and walk on water. I've literally seen pastors try and make limbs grow back by saying a prayer. They're taking the shit literal. See? African people, we understood symbolism. Everything that you're seeing in the glyph is a symbol. It's a symbol of something else. It's not the real thing. Right? Everything that you're seeing in this glyph, that's not a real person. That's a representation of the person. It's a symbol. That's why you see him in 3 places. This is not a helper. It's a dog head because we know dogs are a man's best friend. He helps you. It's a symbol. That's why he's on the body of a human. It's showing you the action of a man. This is the language. We know what alligators do, right? Alligators lay dormant. An alligator won't come and attack you, right? It sits at the balance way between land and water. Right in the middle, right at the balance, yes? Alligators will only attack you if your heart is heavy. You got too close to the water, you're being too greedy, you're drinking too much water, we coming to get you, we're going to snatch you up out of there. Do you see like the spiritual concept here? Here you have the symbol of Ma'at here with the feather on the top of her head, right? The ostrich feather. That's Ma'at. Ma'at you can see here. Ma'at is also the scale, and Ma'at is also this mat over here, this square, this rectangle rather that you see the throne sitting on. It's sitting on this rectangle of Ma'at. This also represents Ma'at. This right here. Okay, so this is all symbolism. The whole language is symbolism. But guess what? If you're a Christian and you don't know what the symbols mean, when you come into Africa and you come into Egypt, you're going to do just like niggas is doing on this line. Start guessing. Imagine if you came in, you shot the noses off of everybody who knew what the hell was going on, and now you don't. Now you here and you got to tell a story to the people. You don't kill the priests, the ones who have the knowledge. Huh? You killed the priests, and you shot the noses off so people can't tell that they was black. And now you got to tell the people, right? Because you're a white man now. Now you got to tell us, why should we worship you? Worship you? You just killed our black leader and you shot the noses off of our deities. Why should we worship you? You have to create a story. But you can't read the story because you killed the people that can read the story. So what do? You just make shit up. You just make shit up about what it is that you're seeing. You call it the eye of Heru the evil eye, or you call it the all-seeing eye, or the Illuminati eye, which is some shit you made up. We ain't got no Illuminati back then. How does the eye of Heru, or what they call the eye of Horus, right, which was created in ancient Kemet, link up with anything Illuminati? Like, you got to make it make sense to me. It's just some shit you made up. And they'll get mad at you for saying, yo, you lying, bro. All you got to do, if what you think is right and exact, just pull up the artifacts. Show us what you're talking about so we can corroborate the story. But when you ain't got nothing to it and you just telling people to believe who? You just got here. Why should we believe you? You just got here in the last 50 years. If that, why should we believe you? Depending on who's bringing the message. Even if you got here in the last 100 years, it's not enough time. We can just go back to the artifacts and see it for ourselves, yes? Why believe anybody? You don't got to believe me. Go get the artifacts. Get the artifacts. If you come talking about religion and you don't have artifacts, you are not prepared and not ready to have the conversation. You are underqualified for the conversation. Because everything we know about religion came from artifacts. Everything. Every religious leader will tell you that. Every excavator will tell you that. How you religious, but you're not a researcher? How you religious, but you don't explore? Where have you gone? Where have you traveled? What temples have you walked into before you made your conscious decision as to who God is? I do you one better. Before you made your conscious decision that even a God existed, where did you go? Who did you see? Who did you talk to? Is it something that was just passed down to you because you was born into it? Or did you actually make that conscious decision to go ahead and do that? Based off of what criteria? You got to explain that. You got to explain that. It's now being uncovered that the land over there never belonged to those people. Never belonged. What does that do to your story? When you realize that that land never belonged to the Israelis. It's Palestine. What does that do to you when you realize that they wrote themselves into a history, into a story, where they didn't even exist? When you realize that Genesis was written last. It was one of the last books of the Bible written. They had themselves leaving out of Egypt, and they hadn't even been in Egypt. They weren't even there. They just inserted themselves into history. Like they've been doing, and we've seen it right now. The Palestinians is telling you, like, these people don't belong here. What are you talking about? We've been here. Most of the messiahs was Arabic. They weren't Jewish. Fact. Most of the prophets. There's been hundreds of prophets in the past. 9 out of 10 of them, they Arabic. Why do you think they hate Arabs? All the prophets come from there. There's a reason why they say Amen. If Jesus was around during that day, he would have been worshiping Allah. He would have been worshiping Allah. There's no separation of church and state. So at the end of your prayers, you're gonna worship. You're gonna acknowledge who you worshiping. Come on now. Somebody said Israel's in Northeast Africa. Talk about it. Cat Williams blew some of that up too. The whole Bible takes place in Africa, bro. Don't come to me with no Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, P. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Any basic mindset who knows African names knows that's a lie. You know what I'm saying? You don't even got to play with these niggas no more because they're willingly stupid when people doing that. You know what I'm saying? No ego. That's stupid. You telling me Peter and Paul was walking around Africa around the same time as Hatshepsut and Thutmose? Is it Moses or is it Thutmose? Okay, because the Thutmose story is a little bit different from the Moses story. The Akhenaten story is a little bit different from the story that y'all saying. It's one thing if you change the names, but when you change the story, they lied to y'all. They told you it was just, just a transliteration. No, don't you know that there's certain words that you just can't transliterate? Don't you know that it's illegal to change your name like that in Africa? Did you know that? You can't even do that. That's against the culture. They don't do that. They call what it is. They don't switch his name. Right then and there, that's sorcery. It's wickedness. It's deception. They say, oh, you know, somebody asked me how I feel about Black Jesus. Where was that? Somebody, I thought I saw that question earlier, right? Right? I go to some churches and they say, oh, you know, Jesus, it doesn't matter what color Jesus is. Then why'd you change it, bitch? What the fuck is you talking about? What are you talking about? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If the color of Jesus doesn't matter, why did you change it? Why not just keep it black? There's more black people on the planet than there is white people. Why'd you change it? If color doesn't matter. Color is everything. Why doesn't he look like me? Why doesn't the God, right, who I'm made in the image after, right? We're going according to the words of Christians. We're made in the image of God. Why doesn't he look like me? In any of the pictures y'all shown, in any of the depictions, why doesn't he look like me? Oh, we changed it to look. So why'd you change it? If there was, you know, just ask questions. When they get mad by you asking questions, it's gonna tell you everything you need to know. There's only certain type of people that get mad when you start asking questions. It's usually the people that are being deceptive. I said, what do you think about ancient Sumerian texts? I don't. Nah, I'm fucking with you. So all these texts are important. We're dealing with ancient Sumer, Nubia, Kemet. Doesn't matter. They are all important because, like I said, every perspective matters, right? Nobody's lying here. Just to be clear, nobody's lying here. Everybody is giving you their version of their truth from their perspective of what they saw, right? But as you compare and contrast, you start to realize, okay, your angle, right? From your angle, you didn't see this part of the game. This is what you just have to recognize, no matter which walk of life that you're in, right? Even as a Kemite, there's certain things that transpired prior to Kemet that you have to acknowledge, right? That things that happen in South Africa, Nubia, right? You have to acknowledge those things because those are the building blocks that make up where you're at now. The reason why Kemet is what it is because the people of Kemet came from the South. They were Nubians. They were dark-skinned African people that built ancient Kemet. So we have to reverse engineer and say, okay, well, who are they then? Because they're really not even Kemites. Kemites are not Kemites. They weren't even born in that space. They migrated there. They came from the South. Those are really like Nubians over time that have evolved and came up there. You understand? So, and they learned certain things and invented certain things in Nubia. You see? So every information I tell people, listen, don't throw your Bibles away. This is not a message to say, hey, yeah, throw your Bibles away. It's all a lie. No, there's still a whole lot of truth in there. You just can't take shit for face value. Be a scholar. Like, really delve into it. If you really love Jesus the way that you said that you do, study him. Study him, because there's no way you can believe in him after you study him. That's how I know when Christians are fake. That's how I know a fake Christian. When I see a Christian and they're so adamant about Jesus and about how real he is, I know they haven't studied him at all, because there's no evidence they would ever be able to bring to the table. That tells me you're a fake Christian the more you love Jesus. Jews are more Christian than Christians. Real talk. Jews are more Christian than Christians. It's Christians, right? Root word Christ. You follow Christ, the Christ. Not Jesus. It's not Jesusins, it's Christians. The more people are hung up on the character of Jesus, the more I know they really have not read the Bible and done any research whatsoever. None. That's how I got here. I've been saying that since day one. Since day one of my awakening. People like, yo, what made you transition so quickly? I wasn't. It's because I was so in love with Jesus. I was trying to choose Jesus, prove Jesus right. I got here trying to prove Jesus right, not trying to prove it wrong. And then after you start hitting the brick walls and you start saying, you know what, let me tear down some of these brick walls and seeing what's on the other side, because I keep getting a dead end on certain things that if you're standing on truth, certain things will be consistent no matter what. The truth is truth no matter what. No matter how you want to conflate it, no matter how you want to go, truth you cannot change. It's the truth. So it doesn't matter what I bring to the table or what new lifestyle I bring or thought process I bring to the table. If it didn't happen in truth, the evidence will not be able to line up. See, it has to line up. So, dealing with ancient Kemet, dealing with history, dealing with what your ancestors left for you, it's a sure shot. There's no lies. Everything that's been done was being written in real time. We're seeing the lies people live written in real time as they were living it. They're telling you who they are, where they came from, how long they lived, what they ate. They're giving you everything. And guess what? They even left you a body. I mean, in religion, it's not a prerequisite to actually have the dead body of the human being that we're talking about. We're all too familiar with what you guys do. But in science, right? And in spirituality, we're not afraid of science and spirituality. We like artifacts. We like things that are left behind. We like evidence. So if you're telling me Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter, Paul, you giving me 12 disciples and a Messiah and all these other characters that come into play, but you ain't got a single body for me, bro. You can name everybody. You can name everybody. You know where they lived, and you know where they died. And some of them, they even say where they're buried in the Bible, but you can't show me the body. I can show you dead bodies from 100,000 years ago. This is less than 1,000 years. This is a blip in history, but we can't find no artifacts, nothing to corroborate the story, bro. It's one of two things. Either the whole story is a lie, or it's symbolic of another story or plagiarized from somewhere else, and we're looking in the wrong place. It's going to be one of the two. That's all we want. That's all. And most people are like this. Most people do not hate the idea of a God and a creator, and right, or anything that's bigger than you, right? Anything that's stronger than you, and anything that is more intelligent, right? Most people embrace that idea. You see, we want you to take us to this God you showing that you talking about. We want you to show us. Show us the proof of what you're talking about. And guess what? Most people will gracefully bow out and go your way if you can prove what you're talking about. But you can't pull one over on people who are intelligent. You're dealing with a different class of thought process here of people in this day and age. Everybody's not this is past the age of awakening. Everybody's not laying dormant as far as their thought processes and how they see shit. Everybody can see behind the veil. So you can't lie as much. See? So now that we're here, things have changed. Things have changed. So now you got to step your game up. And when you step up your game, you realize, oh shit, the whole thing was a lie. The whole thing was a lie. People can show you where it comes from. I'm one of them. So with that being said, continue to be a voice, family. When you see stuff like this go on, don't be afraid when you see foul things going on in your world and you want to make a change. Don't allow religious folk to just spill rhetoric and verses. If they don't live by what it is that they're talking about, right? It's not an example, right? You want to be the best version of what it is you're talking about. It's not an example, right? Spirituality is not all Skittles and rainbows. Spirituality is about embracing both sides. We have the dark side and we have the light side. We have the up, the down, the in, the out, as above, so below. It's all different. Human beings are multifaceted and we're not linear. So in spirituality, you're taught how to utilize these energies and manipulate all of these different energies. That's what you're here on this planet for. You all are wizards. You all are wizards. You all are Wiccans, whether you like it or not. Naturally, you just come here like that. Your body just does that. It does things that you aren't even aware of. While you're sleeping, it's performing. It's doing what it does. You see, they try to make a whole lot of this stuff evil, but really it's just science. It's just who we are. This is how we are built. See what I'm saying? They spook you out. They give you the reptilian stuff and all that. You got reptilian DNA in you. You have everybody has all of that stuff within them. Everything that's in the universe is all inside you. All the metals, all the crystals, everything is all in you. Is that not God? Huh? Is that not God? Because the image that y'all gave us that we supposedly crafted after, it don't look nothing like us. It don't look nothing like us. But start explaining who God is. Just start explaining who you say God is. If you ain't describing me, if you ain't describing her, if you ain't describing them, I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about a human being when you describe God. Even when you're talking about the emotions and all the different things that God goes through. Does God get jealous? Yeah, absolutely. Do human beings get jealous? Yeah, absolutely. Does God see? Does he have eyes? Yeah, absolutely. Do human beings? Yeah, absolutely. So it's not just the image. It's not just the image. It's the whole essence. It's everything. It's everything. When they're talking about God, they're talking about you. It's just that they warped your mind into believing that it's something outside of you, and it's been you the whole time. You get with another God, and you can create another human being. The biblical text says, "Let us make man in our image." So there was two beings there, at least at a minimum. If you get with another God, can you make a human being? All right. Welcome to the lighthouse. That's right, Don Brazil. There are no sky daddies. No sky daddies. Nobody's coming to save you. Okay? And the quicker you realize this, the quicker you start living life. Like Jay-Z said, bad example, but he did say it. He said, life starts when the church ends. Life starts when the church ends. Okay? When you start really recognizing who you are. We literally created a story, guys, for our future. Right? And the story was so good that people still to this day can't understand how it was even created and who made it, what it was created. You don't even understand it. People fight over it every day. They just don't get it. Lisha said, what do I think about astrology and cosmology, the son of God being the actual son? He is the actual son. Put it this way, right? The son is the son of God. Okay? The son came first before the son of God. That's even in the biblical text. They had daylight and sun before the son of God came, yes? It's the truth. This is not blasphemy. This is truth. The son was here before the son of God. So everything that they were telling you when they're talking about the son of God, they're talking about Heru. Heru is the son. Heru is the deity that I showed you, Asar, that was sitting on the throne. That's his son. Let me bring it home for you one more time. This is Asar. Asar's son, okay, is Heru. Okay? That's his son. Heru, you can see as an aspect of his son as well, just like Ra. These are all sun deities. It's just like Ra. Like I told you, Heru, Ra, Asar. You can see all of these as the same being. It's just manifesting itself in different ways. Okay? We only believe in one energy, but it's expressing itself in different ways. This is why you have different names for them. Christianity stole that concept too. They have Jehovah Nisi, Jehovah Jireh, my provider, Jehovah Rapha. I know the names. Same Jehovah, different expressions. And there's different names that come along with those different expressions. So that's why when you see all these different deities, they're all one and the same. They're within the same body, within the same person, within the same being, in the same space, in the same dimension. But they're acting in a different way, so they have to be explained in a different way. We got to put a different headdress on them. We got to put a different mask on them. We can use the same body, though. You get it? Do you get ancient African language? They'll just change the head, change the mask, change the headdress. They leave the body. The bodies are all the same. If you ever look at ancient Egyptian texts, all the bodies are all the same. Why? Because they're showing you it's the same being, just acting in a different way. See? But if you had to read it from a two-dimensional space versus a three-dimensional space or a four-dimensional space or a five-dimensional space where we can see it, how would you explain that on a two-dimensional image? How did you explain a person being here and now being here, but you only have a two-dimensional image? How do you explain they both at the same time? You put them both on the same page and you put them in both separate areas. So it's showing you that this energy is moving around, bro. See? Don't get it twisted. Some of y'all just need to come back home. Come back home. With that being said, I'm about to get on out of here. We just definitely had to talk about that. I'm going to make sure that we put that out in the airways. You know, we're gonna keep their foot on their necks. I dropped a new record. Well, I didn't drop the record. I dropped a little reel late last night. You know what I'm saying? I was feeling generous, so I just put the song out. It's a song with me and Rick the Villain. It's called Karma. We're the two best lyricists out in Long Island right now. So to have both of us on the same track is monumental and it's historical. So definitely check it out. Go to my Instagram right now if you want to check it out. And then it's also on my Facebook. My new album will be dropping soon too. The new album is called 10. That's right. We're dropping the sequel to 9 this year at some point. And that record that I dropped today, that record will be on the album, as well as some other joints, some other crazy fire joints that we do. You know, I love this hip hop shit, as well as I love the knowledge. So, with that being said, I'm gonna keep hitting y'all. We back. Lighthouse is back. We're planning a trip for June, family. If some of you guys are interested in traveling with us, y'all know how we do. We go on our Lighthouse Power trips. We're planning a trip for June. If you want to get involved in that and you're thinking about going, I think we're going to be doing a cruise this year. It's probably going to be like a 3-day weekend, nothing crazy. And we'll just all be together, you know, loving on each other like we do. So if you want to get down with that, inbox me and I'll make sure you get the information for that. If you're interested in stock trading, if you're interested in day trading or options trading, I teach courses every single Monday. And we also have mid courses for people who are more advanced. But we teach introductory courses on trading every single Monday. If you want to get involved in that, on how you can take care of your financial situation and become more financially stable and also more consistent, more sovereign, inbox me. I'll get you the info on that. You could be in the class. It's only $150 for lifetime access to the class. We got about 40-something people in the class right now, and it's just consistently growing and growing and growing. And we're turning Black people into day traders. So it's a beautiful thing to experience. After one class, you should have all the basics necessary, everything that you need to go out and start trading. We also give you $50,000 of play money to play on the market with to test out, so that you don't lose any money on the market. You're not going out into the market until you're ready. Lighthouse Power Bracelets, yes, we do have those too as well. The Lighthouse Power Bracelets, those are $50 a piece. The website's not up right now, but we still have the bracelets. So if you want to get bracelets, just hit me up. We got those too. Pretty much everything. Just inbox me and we'll get it going. My next show is in Egypt. It's going to be on the Nile River, and that's February, I believe it's the 15th or the 16th. But my next show is in Egypt. So if you're wondering why I'm not doing a lot of local shows, that's why. We bigger than that. You know what I mean? We can't do the little stuff around town no more. So if you want to get down with it, you're gonna have to travel with us. Next show is in Africa. I'll be the first person from my city, from my hood, ever to be booked in Egypt and perform on the Nile River. So it's going to be dope. So I'm super excited for that. And yeah, a whole lot more stuff coming down the pipe, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Tashi, we out of here. We out of here. 16th is the show. You know, Tashi's coming. She's gonna be there. It's just dope. I'm humbled. I'm honored to be able to do this and represent my city in this way. You know, and just trying to stay focused, staying sucker free, and staying out the way. You know what I'm saying? For those who got the answers, we're just doing what we got to do. But you know, at the end of the day, I'm proud. You know, I'm so proud of where the conscious community has gone over these years. We did a lot of good filtering too. Got a lot of the riffraff from out of the community. People were vocal about it. You know, we're not going to beat a dead horse, but you know those people who were, you know, abusing the community. We got them out of the community, and things are changing. It's on the up and up. It's really, really good. Yes, we have plenty of Lighthouse members in North Carolina. Oh my goodness. All my people from North Carolina, if you want right now, you know, tap in. We got Misha out in North Carolina. I think she wants to connect. All my North Carolina ladies, tap in with Misha right now in her inbox. Say hello. The Lighthouse is busy. Biggie back. Yeah, North Carolina. We got Tifa's out in North Carolina. Who else in North Carolina? We got a bunch of people in North. We got a bunch of people in North Carolina. So you'll be able to link up. Riley and all that. Mm-hmm. Charlotte, yep. Tashi's in. Oh yeah, I forgot Tashi. You there too. Howard. Look at it. A lot of North Carolina on here. You see it? They all chiming in. She wants to get connected, so hook up with me. Hook up with Misha. Tashi is there. Howard is there. Okay. Latifa is there. Latifa Foster. She's there from the Lighthouse. Okay. Getting involved with put your turn on your notifications. And every time I'm on, just tap in. You know, I do my lives, and you know, as long as you got the notifications on, you know when I'm coming on. I try to come on in the mornings, like 9 o'clock. You know, that's the goal. If you want to travel with us, just hit me in my inbox, and we'll get you on that information. You know, anybody that want to travel and want to hang out with us, you know what I'm saying? That's what we do. We just like to travel around the world, look at artifacts, and learn and spread knowledge. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? We do a lot of benevolent work too. We're philanthropists at the same time. You know, we raise money for Flint, Michigan, Egypt. You know, we do all that kind of stuff. You know, we give back to the community. You know, those are the kind of things that the Lighthouse is into. So if you want to be down, hit me in the inbox, and we'll get you going. All right? Yeah, it's a whole game. You know what I mean? We're actually still planning the cruise right now, Misha. So we haven't rolled out the official fly and information for it yet, because we're getting all the details worked out right now. So the reason why I made the announcement, so you can start getting ready. So just put your money to the side if you're trying to get down with it, so that when it's time to go, we can just roll out. You know what I mean? But we're planning it right now. Okay, and I'll make sure that you get that too. All right. So with that being said, I love y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get on out of here. May the divine force in me, may the divine force in you. May you manifest every heart's desire. We're gonna keep the podcast going. We're gonna keep the show going, and you know, we're gonna be doing a lot more upgrades too in the future. But you know, I appreciate y'all for being here. Okay, it's open to teenagers and adults, kids, everything. You know, I'm a family man, so you know the way I move around, kids, queen, everything. You know what I'm saying? So anybody can come. All right, it's very much people friendly. Love you too, queen, and I'll see the rest of you guys on the other side. All right. Once again, if you want to get down with the trading class, I highly advise you guys get down with it. Inbox me now and take control of your financial life. With that being said, peace.